because you are helping others, both creatively but also just like mentally and psychologically. Creativity is an output and an outlet, a way of getting energy out and actually making stuff happen, and it feels nice. Today I want to talk about using Nordic designs for something that isn't tattoos, because most people automatically assume that what I do is usable for tattoos. But working on the whole Kickstarter, Northern Wind book project and all this, all of the designs in there and the process and all these things is very applicable for other things. For example, wood carving, leatherwork, embroidery, painting and so on. I'm going to focus on a guy named Richard, or Magnus, or both. I haven't figured out why yet. He has a YouTube channel named Dark Horse Workshop. He makes really cool stuff with a somewhat modern approach to the leatherwork. He uses modern tools and all these things, but it's really cool, and the way he applies his designs is really excellent. So the reason I want to kind of feature him is, as mentioned, he helped us out when we were doing the whole Kickstarter project, and is helping us out a little bit with this whole YouTube thing. Just the fact that he has a YouTube video about how he built his channel and why, and like what kind of profits does it make him, how does it promote his work and stuff like that. He is he backed our project. He's gonna be in the book with some of his work, and he's a nerd like me. I like it.
Got it nice and even, because those edges can be a little easier to hide that they're not even, if you know what I mean. If you've got these large areas, they start to look mottled if you're not careful. If I make a mistake and I know what I could have done better, I like to make sure I inform you guys of it. You learn more through failure than success, I find.
The thing I like about his channel, the most, is his willingness to share. We basically came across him when we were doing the Northern Wind Kickstarter, and we got in touch, and there was just an immediate enthusiasm and willingness to share. You can also see it in his video process and in his explanatory videos about how he makes a living off his social media and all these things. It's brilliant to want to share your stuff. And my experience when we were building this whole Kickstarter thing was that 95% of the time, the creative people that we contacted, they were into it. There's been very, very little negativity. It's mainly been like old elephants out there who didn't want to share what they do because they are busy or important, which is cool, because I know you get busy and I know you get important, and I know that not everyone has like the time, fuel and energy to be throwing fuel on other people's bonfires. I also know that the 95% who are super into this, they're also busy people. They also have a crazy life. They're also tattoo artists and painters and all these things, but they still wanted to share. They still wanted to throw energy into this creative endeavor, and I love it. And seeing someone who basically makes a living out of sharing creative work is bloody cool. And basically I would like to say thank you to anyone who does this. Keep doing it. For me, it is very much what makes me function as a human being. Barely. So Magnus also has a similar background to me, which made him really interesting to me. He grew up in the 70s, I grew up in the 80s. We're both infected with Dungeons and Dragons and these periods where fantasy movies and stuff like that, all of a sudden pop culture, then it's underground again, then it's pop culture, and now everyone knows Lord of the Rings, so everyone likes Legolas kind of thing, and knows who Tolkien was all of a sudden. It used to be that what I was into was super underground and hyper nerdy, and before tattooing I did special effects and all types of crafts. I supplied armor, weapons, leather equipment, monster suits and stuff like that for LARP, TV, movies, theaters and so on and so forth. And it was weird, like really strange days of just get good at building random shit. And Magnus is very much in the same league. He has a cool video about how he got into leather work and having his workshop that he does now. But he's been doing the whole Society of Creative Anachronism. He's been doing armors and costumes and stuff like that for some TV shows and some movies. And it reminds me a hell of a lot about my own past, what led me into tattooing. What's the important part is he does Nordic designs, lots of it, and he implements it into a very difficult word to say all of a sudden, implements it into his really nice leather craft. Essentially what he does is make gear, fantasy gear and medieval inspired gear and Viking inspired gear, slightly modern approach to the stitching of materials and stuff like that. Not really important in this case. He makes his own designs, which he then puts up for sale. He's got some t-shirts and stuff like that as well with his own design. Watching him work, watching him create his pieces, and watching him have this process of creating something and then putting, almost for free, putting up the designs for sale, it's quite enlivening. It's very positive to see someone wanting to share their creative process so much and having this very alive YouTube channel, fairly often posted videos about how he creates his work. The talk about other materials than this human skin material. Modern Nordic art. When I started doing the whole Northern Wind book project, I started looking into craftsmen, artists, painters, and so on. And the tattoo scene definitely outweighs the craftsmen and artist scene. There's a lot more visibility amongst tattoo artists than there is amongst carvers, knife makers, and stuff like that. We are going to make some small feature videos about the different people who are participating in the Northern Wind book. But I would like to see more people do things. I do wood carving, like spoon carving and stuff like that, as a relaxing hobby. It's like meditation for me. And I really want to see more people do these things because it's a lot about using materials that are available through nature, about sitting down and using your hands. And all you basically need to be able to do is to put a pencil to paper and start from there. And then all of a sudden you can put it on canvas or your wall or your car or leatherwork or start carving wood. There's YouTube videos that explains how to do anything. You can basically become a master if you start from nothing and you follow some guides and then practice, lots and lots of practice, and it can make a craftsman out of you. It can make an artist out of you. Basically, like Magnus has done. He started somewhere and just started building, started practicing, becoming better and better and better. Took some educations in different things or some courses and learned from different people and hung out with the right places, and then all of a sudden he had this thing. My career has been very much the same. I'm not saying everyone can go out and become a tattoo artist. Well, most can if they will put the time into it. But everyone can learn how to carve or paint or draw. And I'm hoping that the books that we're making will inspire people to do this. There's a lot of people who feel that they're doing it wrong. They can't figure out how to do the shape right and all this. If you want to do historical correctness, yes, then there's a right and wrong. But for creativity, there is no right and wrong. It's just playing. It's adults and children and young people playing with art. Just do it. Buy a decent pad of paper. Get started. Anyways, shout out to Richard/Magnus for, essentially supplying us with a lot of imagery for this little video about other types of creativity. Thank you for watching and see you next time.